So flax flowers were something I really never saw myself growing. I hadn't really even thought of them. And one day I just saw this packet in the store and I decided to plant them. And then they didn't do anything the first year. They just kind of came up. And then this year, they were one of the earliest blooming flowers. And, you know, we're late into May and they're still blooming profusely. And what I love about them, well, the color is so beautiful. And the height, you know, they're just the perfect flower in this garden. These are in the rainbow garden. But probably my favorite thing about them is that they're like a clean slate flower. Like in the evenings, they'll drop all these blossoms. They'll just drop them all over the ground. And then the next morning, they start all over. And when I wake up, as soon as I wake up, their little blossoms are opened again. And we get a whole new bunch, a clean slate every day. And then we have thistle. Thistle is a much taller, more commanding plant. A lot of people wouldn't even grow thistle. They would just think of it as a weed and sharp and has a defense system. But that defense system is what allows it to bloom, because creatures don't come up and nibble on thistle very much. And this is just the beginning color. This is what they look like when they're very young, and they're not a flower yet. They're just the very beginning. And look at that intense color. That's going to fade out eventually to a huge pink fluffy flower that attracts so many pollinators. And it is just one of my absolute favorite wildflowers. Is a tall, majestic, commanding thistle. And now we're over in the butterfly weeds. You know, I can't decide which ones I like better. If I like the brilliant orange, look at that color. Look at that against that dark green. That is so beautiful. It's so striking. It's absolutely gorgeous here in the front of the butterfly garden. Now I have to enjoy it now because the monarchs have all laid their eggs in it, and when the caterpillars hatch, they're very hungry and they will eat this to the ground. But that's okay, that's what it's here for. But until then, for the next few days, I get to enjoy this gorgeous orange in my garden. This is the beautiful pink of the swamp milkweed. This just grows natively here. This is also completely consumed by the monarch caterpillars. Monarch mothers land on this all day. They sip the nectar and then they leave their eggs behind. It's a very beautiful color. Very pretty. This is a blooming spiderwort. It grows native in my area as well. It gets pretty tall, about 3.5, 4 feet tall. And it just has this one gorgeous thick stem with elongated leaves. And then the little crown on top is this beautiful indigo blue. Another popular plant with my pollinators. The cats love an early morning stroll out in the garden. They want to see what all has changed overnight. And this, of course, is just native yarrow. Yarrow has a very distinct smell. I find the leaves and stems very pleasant, while I actually find the little blossoms scent not so pleasant. But overall, I love the look of yarrow. It's quite tall, about the same as the spiderwort. Right now in the garden, rue is probably my most frequently visited flower by the pollinators. It's just so loaded with blooms and so tempting for them to come and land. There's so many choices of where to land on just this one rue plant. She's thrown down a couple of babies, but probably my most favorite thing about rue is the really adorably shaped leaves. I've always been attracted to the leaves of the rue plant. So cute. For some reason, they just remind me of little frog's feet. I just love how busy this plant is all throughout the day. It's the happening place in the butterfly garden. Finally, this sweet little oxeye daisy. The daisies are having a magnificent season this year because of all the rain. They are literally just everywhere. It's so beautiful to drive past an entire field of daisies. I don't think you can look at a daisy and not feel stirrings of happiness inside. Always happy daisy. And lasts so long in a bud vase. I've cut some almost 2 weeks ago, and they still, you know that saying, fresh as a daisy. Yep, almost 2 weeks. All I do is a little trimming on the bottom, change the water, and they're very happy to be in the vase for a long time. They're an amazing, unassuming, happy little flower, the daisy. And then there's Queen Maline, the mullein plant. This one has a resident spider. She's right down there. See her? What a beautiful place she's created. Look at this. Look at her home. Right in the middle of the rosette of these incredibly huge soft leaves. She's just hanging out down in there. Mullein is also native to my area, and I let several of them grow. It takes 2 years for her to shoot up her stalk of yellow flowers, and when she does, she will also be attractive to pollinators. I use the leaves in a tea for lung health, and I just enjoy having her in my garden. She's just so beautiful. Instead of grass, we planted clover as our front yard. And now I've let it get a little bit tall, and it's starting to bloom. This will be completely abuzz with little bees later on in the day. I absolutely love my choice of white clover instead of grass. It also feeds my rabbits and my chickens, in addition to all the bees. Well, thanks for joining me and the cats in our morning stroll through the garden today to see what was blooming. We're very happy that you joined us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Much love and light. Blessed be.